You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Revenue is what sustains your ability to create impact. Charging well for what you do is what keeps you in the game. Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs. I'm Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and if you're building a business focused on population health, then this podcast is for you. I'm here to help you build the business strategies that create healthier communities. On this episode, I'm sharing with you 3 practical strategies that will help you with pricing your consulting services. Let's dive right in. Number 1, say your price out loud before your next sales conversation. Now, that may seem silly to you, but many entrepreneurs have never actually said their rate out loud before getting on a call with a potential client. Practice it. Say your price 3 times before that conversation. Notice where the hesitation is. That hesitation is telling you something that you need to pay attention to. Sometimes it's really mindset. If you're feeling uncomfortable about the price, your prospect, your client is going to pick up on that. If you're lacking confidence in your pricing, your ability to it's not really a matter of doubting whether or not you can do the work. You have the expertise. I don't think there's a question there. I think the challenge usually comes in when people don't believe in their ability to put this price tag on what they're delivering. And sometimes they believe in it, but they're just not used to saying it out loud. So maybe on paper, you've gotten comfortable with it. You're confident, but yet you haven't really said it out loud. So it feels awkward. I've literally watched this in some of my clients in the middle of coaching calls. I've watched their body language and I watched the strained expression. So it is worth practice, and say those rates out loud and really feel into that so that you're confident when you have that conversation and it's time for that to come up. So because you could be talking about your offer and what you can deliver, and then it gets really awkward when it's time to talk about the price. So practice that before your next conversation. I remember working with another client, who realized that she was stumbling over her rate every time the client asked about it. So once she got comfortable saying it, clients stopped negotiating her down. So keep that in mind. Strategy number 2, connect your price with the outcome that you deliver. Now, this is really important. When you price your work, anchor it into what your client walks away with, not how many hours you've spent. I do teach from the perspective of value-based pricing. There are some times that you need to put a rate in your quote, but really the majority of the time you can really take the value-based pricing. So that means for this offer, it's a total package. It's not an hourly rate for this or that. I mean, like I said, sometimes you have to do that, but in most cases. So your clients, when you have a total price in a package, I think you should frame it about the transformation, like the outcome that the client experiences and what they receive, and not how many hours you spent doing this or that. Then you get into this tit for tat commodity type of conversation that I really hope you avoid. But pricing your work, anchor it really into what the client walks away with. And that it's just so much easier to have a conversation about. Outcomes have way more value than time. They're looking at that overall outcome. And I really would even say the transformation. They're trusting in that part of it. But when you're hitting their pain points and you're talking about the outcome, whether you spend 2 hours or 20 hours, that's really not relevant. It's really about that outcome that's the solution to the pain or the problem that they're struggling with. I'll give you an example. A public health researcher turned consultant kept discounting her fees for small community organizations. When she framed her pricing around what her clients would be able to do after working with her, then the conversation shifted. So outcomes, looking down the road, those points of views have so much more value than just simply talking about a package of hours or hourly rates. Okay, strategy number 3, document the downstream value of your work. So keep record of What happens after you work with someone? The grants that are awarded, programs that are improved, communities that are reached. That documentation becomes the foundation for how you talk about your price for your work over time. So it takes a time to build, and sometimes people aren't really thinking about these things, but that documentation is so important as you do the work because then it makes the sales conversations. I always want to use air quotes, but I don't. Sales conversation, it makes it so much easier and it flows. I like to say sales conversation because it should feel like a conversation. Okay, let me give you an example of what I just described. I know a few grant consultants who began tracking their funding for their clients. So they basically track the funding that they were able to secure for their clients after engagements. So that data, changed how they positioned their value. When they're able to say, I help clients win X amount of dollars in grant funding, that's a bold transactional, that's evidence, and that's a lot of boldness coming into a conversation for a grant consultant. So those are the kinds of things that I mean about documentation. Programs that are improved or communities reach is another one, because a lot of times in consulting services, one of the outcomes that clients are looking for is connection to community. So if you're able to, document that you've done that before, it becomes a really natural part of the conversation, important part of the conversation. But maybe sometimes we don't think of the things that are really vital and our clients really are looking to hear. Okay, so remember that revenue is what sustains your ability to create impact. And these sales strategies can help you build confidence and start charging well for your work, which ultimately keeps you in business, keeps your business growing and serving more communities. Now, if you need further help with any of these strategies, then please reach out through our website at publichealthentrepreneurs.com. We'd be happy to arrange a time to speak with you or explore other opportunities to support you with these strategies. Also, make sure that you've subscribed to Public Health Entrepreneurs podcast newsletter so that you receive updates on our podcast, about our podcast episodes, programs, and any events that we have. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.